Hey everyone, welcome back to K-Korner, the channel where we dive into the wild world of entitled people and their unbelievable stories. Hope you enjoy it, and without further ado, let's go. Let's start this story by saying this happened 12 years ago. I'm now happily married with 3 children and regret absolutely nothing. I was with my new ex for 3 years. I had noticed that she was being extremely controlling. I was expected to give every little detail of my day and tell her my schedule in advance, and if I deviated from that, she would be very upset. She chalked it up to just bad feelings she was having and shrugged it off as her paranoia for past relationships of infidelity. I had never once cheated or strayed, and I never gave her a reason to act like this. It felt unbecoming of my fiancée to act in such a way. Now this is where it gets juicy. After she had asked for my schedule to make plans, as mine tends to be more hectic than hers, I noticed she was texting someone. In my line of work, if I put in more than 40 hours, I have the ability to take time off at will, as long as the work is completed at a later date. I was very good friends with a brother and still am. We laugh about this to this day, and he actively reminds her of it. I messaged him stating I wanted to do something special for her a little bit earlier than our anniversary to make sure it was a special surprise. They both worked in the same fabrication facility. He was a fabricator and she a shipping manager. He was kind enough to let me know her schedule. That's where the discrepancy falls into place. Without my knowledge, she was foregoing overtime. She worked 12-hour shifts Monday through Friday, with the exception of Wednesday, when she would only work half a day. She had been taking Wednesdays off right around the time that she started getting extremely controlling. Lucky for me, I had stacked several days of leisure time up, so taking a Wednesday off for me was not an issue. A few days go by and Wednesday's here. I put on my work gear and leave for work. I was expecting her to leave as our apartment complex had 2 exits on the same road I could see directly across from a shopping center, so I parked my car near the back and waited. After about an hour, I noticed a very specific red Mustang with a specific decal on the back window. It was her cousin by marriage. I had also done my due diligence to take an old laptop, which we kept on our desk in an office area with a full view of the living room, bedroom door, and bathroom, plus the kitchen. I had set it up for remote access and had it alert me when the webcam noticed movement. Giving her the benefit of the doubt, I thought he may be dropping something off or coming over to assist her with something, as her family sometimes does. Sure enough, a message came through, so I remote into my laptop. He walks through the door without skipping a beat. She unbuttons his shirt and begins kissing him. I created a URL link for the live stream. And as she was preoccupied, we had a family group text and a friend group text. They were both part of it, but at the current time, they were currently indisposed and didn't look at their phones. They didn't even wait. They could have gone to the bedroom, but no, they decided to get freaky-deaky right there on the couch. I sent the link off to the friend group chat and a family group chat. Within minutes, I'm getting calls nonstop from friends and family alike. There was no turning back. She was getting blown up, but she was ignoring her phone. Not until the 4th or 5th call came through did they decide to take a break. For context, the state I live in allows recording of personal property regardless of occupancy. I was the only one on the lease. She wasn't allowed to be on the lease because of poor credit. The call she had picked up was from her cousin's mother, who she was banging. She answers the phone on speaker, and I kid you not, the first words out of his mother's mouth were, "Stop damn my son." They both became rigid, and she began to stutter over her words, saying, "What are you talking about?" The mother then divulged that there was a live feed of them sent out by me to her family. She grabbed every pillow off the couch and covered herself up. The cousin staggered off, trying to put on his pants and shoes, just to trip himself up and bang his head off of my coffee table, leaving it with a divot. By this time, I had made my way to the front of the apartment complex. I was there to greet the adulterer as he came out of the front exit. He froze and began to cry, apologizing profusely. I'm not going to lie, what happened afterwards wasn't my best moment, and I nearly got into legal trouble if it weren't for the fact that he was trespassing on private property. Let's just say I had a cast for 6 weeks, and he wasn't in any family photos for months. I went up to the apartment where she was now fully clothed and crying inconsolably. I asked her if it was snot or cum on her face. Then I told her not to answer, because it didn't matter anyway. I gave her 1 hour to remove all her belongings, as again, everything in the apartment was mine except for clothes, some makeup, and a few kitchen utensils. Her mother would not let her move in, as she was just filled with embarrassment. Same for her brothers, and the cousin's mother kicked her son out. Rumors spread around our town very quickly, and for a lack of better words, she was untouchable. Background. My family just moved to a new, bigger apartment, which ended up costing a lot less than we saved, so we decided to replace all our appliances and home decor items. After a long day of unloading our storage and carrying everything up to the second-floor apartment, I'm exhausted. I had to still go to Walmart to get everything my apartment needs. I was accompanied by my 10-year-old son, who is a little tall for his age and looks older than he really is. Important for later. Cast. Me, Op, my good son. GS, line cutting Karen, LLCK. Nice customer. NC, awesome manager. AM, and cool cop, CC. GS and I entered Walmart, which is packed and the checkout lines are so long they stretch into the clothes aisle. While GS and I are shopping, GS starts playing Pokemon, go on my phone and following behind me. We finally get everything we need and headed to the checkout. As I walked around looking for the shortest line, I walked past LCK standing in the clothing section, clearly not in line but staring at the checkout. GS and I get in line behind NC 10 feet from where LLCK was standing and patiently waited for our turn. 5 minutes later, GS, excited to show me a new Pokemon he caught, asked me to try to catch one. Since the line was moving slowly, I figured why not. GS hands me the phone and I attempt to play the game. As I'm trying my second attempt to catch a Pokemon, in comes LLCK. I noticed out the corner of my eye her cart at the front side of my cart. I looked up to see LLCK with her back to me, peeking my way, trying to be nonchalant and pretend I wasn't there. At first I didn't say anything, thinking she was looking at clothes or waiting for someone. At this point I'm still playing the game with GS, but at the same time I'm paying more attention to our surroundings and to LLCK. As NC moves up in the line, so do I, because at this point LLCK is inching closer in between me and NC, until she thinks I'm not paying attention and tried to push her cart in front of mine. I pushed my cart forward, which blocked her way. She then proceeded to push her cart into mine. Me. Excuse me, ma'am, but we were here in line first. You were way over there when we got in line. LCK. No, I was in line before you. I was trying to find a manager, so I walked over there, but this is still my spot in line. Me. Clearly knows she's lying. I'm sorry, but that's not how it works. Even if you was in line before, you still stepped out, and you were nowhere near this line when I got here and there was a manager in front of where you was standing. But not once in the 20 minutes I've been in line, have you said. A word to anyone, nor were you in any line. Everyone here is in a rush to leave too, so please wait your turn at the back of the line. LCK. How would you know you've been looking at your phone the whole time and I was in line first? I was behind NC. First, you are the one cutting me. And if you don't move out my way, I'll tell the manager you're cutting me in line and threaten me to move. I'll have you thrown out and banned from Walmart. Me. Go ahead, do it and cry me a river while you at it, because I don't care what you say or do, you are not cutting in front of me. LCK. You know what F you which flips a bird and starts to walk off after trying to ram me with her cart? GS steps in the way to stop her cart from hitting me, but gets hit in his side. Me. Loudly. Wow, you just hit my son with your cart. You are crazy. If you can't wait in line, don't come to Walmart, Karen. LCK walks off and GS and I thinks it's the end of it. NSC is now at the register unloading her cart when LCK returns with AM. AM. Excuse me, ma'am. Me. Yes? AM. LLCK told me you cut her in line and threatened to beat her up if she didn't shut up and leave. We don't tolerate that kind of behavior here at Walmart. I'm going to have to ask you to leave the store. I looked at AM, about to explain what really happened when LCK interrupted me. LCK, looking smug, thinking she won, takes it a step further. She also hit me with her cart. I want her arrested for assault. I want the police called. She assaulted me and threatened my life, all because I wouldn't let her skip me. NC, finishing up her transaction, turns around looking irritated at the lies LLCK was spouting. NC. I've waited in this line for 30 minutes to check out. At no point were you ever in line behind me, nor did OP ever threaten you. You threatened her and rammed your cart into hers. You threatened to have her removed and banned if she didn't let you in. Then you hit her son with your cart. She was well within her rights to stand her ground. AM, looking confused, asked me if it was true. Both GS and I both said yes at the same time. I started to explain my side of what happened, but LCK kept interrupting me. LCK. Lies, all lies, this dumb witch is a liar. She assaulted me. I want her arrested now. AM. Calm down, we will get to the bottom of it. LCK, now yelling, cutting off AM. No. I want her arrested now. AM. LACK. You are making a scene if you don't calm down and lower your voice. I'm going to ask you to leave. LCK. She threatened my life and assaulted me, and you're going to kick me out. I want your manager now? AM. I'm the general manager of this store. If you want anyone above me, you'll have to call Cooperate now, ma'am. I'm going to ask you one more time to calm down before I trespass you from my store. LLCK. Upset she is not getting her way. So this is how you run your store. You protect violent people who attack other customers and kick out the victims. I'll have your job. NC. You are not the victim Op and GS is. You threatened and attacked them because you got caught skipping the line. LCK. Mind your own business, witch. No one asked you. NAC. It is my business. I witnessed everything, and I will always speak out against disgusting people like you. LCK. How dare you speak to me like that, you piece of... AM. That's enough from you. AM, not wanting to deal with LCK anymore, calls the police to escort LCK out the store and trespasser. In comes CC. CC. Hey AM, what seems to be the problem? AM. I have a dispute between... LCK. Cutting off AM with fake tears. Officer, this woman threatened my life and attacked me for no reason. I want to press charges and I want her arrested now. GS officer, she is lying. She attacked my mother and me because we wouldn't let her cut us in line. LCK. Shut up, you're a pathetic excuse for a man allowing this violent hoe of yours in public. GS. She is not a violent hoe. She is my kind, caring mother. You are the violent one who can even watch her mouth around kids? You even hit a minor with your cart? LCK. I did no such thing. NC. It's true, I witnessed the whole thing. LCK. They're lying, I was the one attacked. CC to AM. Do you have footage of the incident? AM to CC. Yes, I do. My loss prevention guy pulled it up as we were waiting for you to arrive. LCK starts to look nervous and starts making excuses to leave. LCK. That will take too long, and I'm in a hurry. AM. But you insisted on the police being called. Besides, it shouldn't take more than 5 minutes. LCK. But I really have to go. I'm in a rush. AM. You haven't even checked out yet, and it looks to be a 20-30 minute wait, so there is plenty of time. LCK. But I... CC. Cutting in, ma'am. You are currently being detained and can't leave till. LLCK. Cutting off CC. You can't detain me. I did nothing wrong. I have rights. CC. From what I understand, you assaulted a minor with a weapon, which is a third-degree felony. LACK. But... CC. No buts. Now sit quietly while we review the video. 10 minutes later. LCK was arrested for assault of a minor in the third degree, reckless endangerment of a child, disturbing the peace, and she was trespassed from all Walmart stores. As she is escorted out the store in cuffs, she just kept yelling, she never hit a minor. CC. Op's son GS is 10 years old and you assaulted him with your cart. I suggest you use your right to remain silent. Everyone has had enough with your foul mouth. CC took statements from everyone and then took LCK away. AM apologized for our experience and gave me and GS a $50 gift card each. If convicted, LCK could face 5 years in prison, a fine of $10,000, or both. Update. Yesterday I got a visit from Keepees. They came to take pictures of bruising on GS' side, which are light bruises, and today I got a call from the state prosecutor's assistant. Between the visit and the call, I now have more insight on what is happening. LCK was being investigated by CPS. Prior to the encounter, she hasn't really been a good mom to her children. From what I understand, they couldn't really tell me much. The prosecutor is changing her charge from aggravated assault to aggravated battery. Honestly, GS and I are ready to move on from this. Update. Sorry it took me so long to update. LLCK was convicted of aggravated battery and was sentenced to 21 months in prison, followed by 6 months of probation and 100 hours of community service. very lenient for someone with a history of violence, with this being her second conviction. I'm just very glad it's all finally over and we no longer have to give it any more thoughts. We are ready to finally move on from this unpleasant experience. When my daughter was little, before she started preschool, she's now 36, she would have difficulty breathing after visiting my meals house or any place that allowed smoking. This was back in the mid-1980s when you could still smoke in restaurants and such. My wife, now ex-wife, and I do not smoke. Finally, after one such occasion that my daughter was having problems breathing while at home, it was bad enough that we took her to the clinic. After examining my daughter, the doctor asked if we smoked. After telling him no, he asked if anyone in our house or extended family did. At that time, Mil was a heavy smoker, and she was the only person that wiled smoke inside our house. We had friends that smoked come visit, but that didn't smoke in our house. The doctor explained that my daughter was showing signs of a mild allergic reaction to secondhand smoke. It was mild enough that treatment wasn't necessary, but we needed to limit or avoid exposing her to people that smoked. Mil and I had never been on good terms, but it got much worse after I posted no smoking signs inside our house. She saw them but said it didn't apply to her because she was grandma. She usually avoided visiting when I was home, and my ex wouldn't stand up to her. Finally, Mil came to visit while I was home. She came strolling and puffing away. After I asked her politely to put the cigarette out, she refused, saying that she had the right to visit her grandchildren however she wanted. I then asked her politely to leave, and she pretty much ignored me. Now, I need to add something here. I was raised to be polite and to respect others, and that was reinforced by my Marine Corps training. There are some exceptions to me being a nice guy, such as putting my children or wife in danger, as Mil soon found out. Since she wouldn't take me seriously and refused to leave, I physically picked her up and took her outside. At that time, she was much heavier than me, but she had finally pushed me over my limits. I set her down on the driveway next to her car and told her to go home. I went back inside and locked the door behind me. My wife didn't say a word, but she was smiling because she knew I could get away with treating her mother like that. Of course, that wasn't the end of that fight. Our neighbors had been old drinking buddies with my wife's parents, so Mills stormed over to their house and called the cops on me, claiming assault. It's a small town, and I know a lot of the cops, but the two that show up I've never met. Since Mill called them and she met them in my driveway, by the time they start knocking on my door, they were planning to arrest me. However, I'm not dumb enough to open the door. After they hear my side and the fact that Mill didn't look roughed up, their attitude quickly changed. After showing my ID with the address given to them by Mile, they step back from the door and talk a bit. A few minutes later, one cop comes back up the steps to talk to me while the other one went to talk to her. His next question actually surprised me. I've had a few not-so-nice meetings with police. He asked if I wanted to press charges, breaking and entering, trespassing, assault, domestic violence was not a thing back then. Against Mile, tempting, but no. My ex is an only child, and I'm not going to forbid Grandma from seeing any of my 4 kids, as long as it's on my terms. No smoking. Instead, I said I just wanted her off my property and that she will have to call before coming over. Side note, after this incident, she no longer talked directly to me unless I answered the phone, so that was a small victory for me. Relations with Maya were pretty much gone. I rarely saw her even though she also lived in that small town, but that's a whole different story. Entitled, Grandma Trained Her Daughter Well, because after 19 years, I finally had enough of X's entitled attitude and I divorced her. Neither X or X-Mill no longer talk to me, no hurt feelings on my part. They don't talk to each other even, something I had wished for back when my children were little. Enjoying the stories yet? If you do, please subscribe, like, and comment. Here's a bit of background before I tell you the incident. I'm a 23-year-old male, and for the last 12 months I've been suffering from chronic leg pain and depression anxiety. The leg pain is caused by varicose veins in my left leg and damaged muscle, and extreme eczema related to the varicose veins. The pain is one of the worst pains I've ever felt, and for the last 12 months I've had pain from the moment I wake up to the moment I sleep. It wakes me up and I'm lucky to get more than 3-4 hours sleep a night. I have very limited motion in my leg and need a walking stick to get around. To tackle the pain, I'm taking Tramadol, Pregol, Tiva, Cocodamol, and Ibuprofen. Even with all this, the pain is still there, and this just takes the edge off it. I'm currently waiting for an operation to fix it. Due to this condition, I've been isolated since January and basically stay in bed all the time. I only leave my house to go to the doctor's, hospital, or my local shops, which is 5 miles from my house. This walk takes me about 10 minutes as I need to take breaks. Now you have an idea of my background, I'll get to the Karen incident. I was sitting on the bus on my way home from the hospital. The bus, which was almost at capacity due to the COVID regulations, meaning every other chair was out of use. I was sat at the front in one of the seats reserved for people with disability when Karen got on the bus. Karen came up to me and said, "Excuse me, but you've got to move and stand because I need to sit down as I've been shopping all day and my legs are tired." I looked at her and held my walking stick up and said, "I'm sorry, but I can't move. I need this seat as I can't stand for long and I won't be able to keep my balance when the bus is moving as I have a problem with my leg. I'm sorry, I think there might be some seats at the back." Karen looked at me and no, you don't lie to me you're too young to be like that. You're just doing it because you're too lazy to stand. Get up now or I'll make you... I just froze up and didn't know what to say. Then she grabbed my arm and started pulling me of the seat. "Get off now!" "Stop being a lazy shit. You kids these days have no respect." She pulled more, and I fell off the chair to the floor, hitting my head on the pole where their button is and busted my lip open. The bus driver came over and helped me up and asked if I was okay. I just sat there. I couldn't speak. I was shaking and started hyperventilating. I was frozen. I didn't know how to react. I didn't know what was going on around me and was having a panic attack. One of the passengers came over and tried helping me calm down while the driver kicked off Karen. I don't really remember this part and what was said, apart from the passenger and driver helping calm me. Once I calmed and stopped crying and hyperventilating, the driver asked if he could do anything and if I was okay. He gave me a bottle of water and him and the passenger reassured me that I'll be okay, and they kicked Karen off. They gave me a tissue to clean the blood off and the bus went off. I was still in shock and shaking. I didn't even look back to see if Karen was at the bus stop. Once we got to my stop, I got up and went home and locked myself up in my room. Since then, I've not been able to leave my room when my housemates are in the shared areas without having a panic attack. I can't be in the same room as people or go shopping. I have to get a taxi now to go to my hospital appointments, and even then, I feel extremely uncomfortable and avoid speaking with the driver. This experience made me realize how vulnerable I am, and I can't go out anymore as I fear for my safety. If something happens, I can't run away or defend myself, and it scares me so much even talking about this incident to my family or my therapist causes me to have a panic attack. This experience has broken me completely and ruined my ability to leave my house. I don't know how to overcome this. It legitimately pains me to write this one because I love this barbershop. My barbershop. I go here all the time, along with my sons. Always great haircuts. Always. Today's malicious compliance has to do with trying to simply pay the bill. One gentleman gave me my recently updated cable from Deadpool 2 undercut, great as usual. My son got his crazy 16-year-old cut. His cut took a lot longer, like 3 more people got their cut than mine, so I waited until both of us were done to pay. Then it was time to pay as my son walked toward me. I checked his cutout with cash in hands. I heard a man yelling, Sir, hey, you need to effing pay." Okay. I started to walk towards him with my clearly visible cash, but he wasn't looking at me. He said, "You can't not pay, you come over here and pay right now." I tried handing him cash. He slapped it out of my hand. Like assault, slapped my hand so hard 2 of the bills fell out. Then he said, "You need to pay at this machine," slapping his hand hard on the machine. I was pissed at this point and embarrassed because I could feel the awkwardness in the air. Enter malicious compliance. I was livid. According to a forgotten comedian, that's 4 degrees past, pissed. I decided, hand still stinging, I'm choosing today to stick up for myself. I slapped my money the way he slapped my hand directly on his machine. I kept picking the machine up, scanner, to look for a hole to put my cash into. I tried flattening it, bending it, folding it, whatever it took to shove this money into the machine. I really hammed it up, a la O.J. Simpson sticking his tongue out trying to put a glove on. Then it finally happened. The man finally lost his mind. "Why did not you tell me it was cash? Why?" I could have argued. I just stood there staring, knowing he would spin himself into a tizzy. He totally did, but not in the way I could have expected. He ripped my money through it in the air, yelled and walked away, pushing barber's chairs that other people were sitting in. Everyone was yelling back at him. It would have been more entertaining if I wasn't worried this dude was going to end in handcuffs by day's end. I didn't stay around, you find out. And yeah, both barbers got an $8 tip. They have to sweep it up now, though. To those who will most assuredly ask, I have decided not to press charges as of yet. I really have no intention of doing so. I really have no idea if I'm going back. Maybe I'll make a joke of it, waving my cash in the air upon entry. The other barbers there really didn't seem to react in a way that indicated this was anything new. Update. How the turntables. So I go back and forth about what to do because we've been coming to this barber exclusively for the last 8 months or so, minus an occasional touch-up here and there at great clips. I know. I decided to call and, well, I don't know what I was going to say or even start. Luckily, I didn't have to say much. As soon as the barber answered, not the angry one. He was all apologies, profusely apologizing. Ever since Oma passed, our father had not been the same, and we talked about this with him. We've talked about this with him. He added a bunch of other age-related excuses that garnered my sympathy and made me look at things in a new light. Well, the light has been shining the whole time. I just had my eyes opened, I suppose. I should have seen the clues. He took 5 times as long, easily, as everybody else. They have his chair way back in the corner, away from the front window. There were signs I clearly ignored. Being an aged individual myself, I didn't want to pigeonhole this guy based on his salt and pepper hair. But I should have taken a step back instead of clapping back at a 60-plus-year-old. I'm definitely chalking this one up as a mulligan, for both of us. This happened this past summer, and it has to do with my boyfriend's 23 male. Mom, so for time I, 21 female, will refer to her as Mill. My boyfriend's brother, 24 male, had been living back at home with my boyfriend and his mom since COVID lockdown, and he was working at Walmart where he met his now girlfriend. She is so sweet, and honestly, I look forward to her becoming my sister-in-law someday. Baal and his GF had been dating for roughly a year when she graduated, and they decided they'd get an apartment together while she finished grad school. Now on to the crazy. I was staying with my boyfriend at their house for a little bit to spend time with him when his brother and his girlfriend were getting ready to move out. She had come to the house to help Baal go through some things and decide what they would bring with them on the move and what they would get rid of. This shouldn't be an issue, right? Wrong? Mill has a tendency to be controlling and entitled, and if things don't go just her way, everyone knows it. This was one of her crazy days. While Baal and girlfriend are packing up, she picks a fight with him over some of the stuff they were trying to get rid of. Baal is pretty passive, and he apologized to her because he hadn't realized that she would want to keep some of his thing. EF and I are down in the basement and can hear the commotion, but we are trying to just mind our business because this had nothing to do with us. Mill storms down the stairs to witch about Baal to us, and my boyfriend just kind of brushed her off saying, well, it's his stuff, and if he wants to get rid of it, he has every right to. Boyfriend doesn't put up with his mom's bees when she's like that. She didn't like that response and went into her office and slammed the door. I needed to go to work as he works the second shift, and he informed me that if I needed anything, I could call him or his work and ask for him. At this point, Baal and Sil had left to go to the laundromat down the street. I'm hiding downstairs trying to not instigate Mael in anyway, and just mind my business it is until Meal comes down into Beth's room with a gun, a box, a clip, and a holster. Me confused, I looked at it and all she said was, it's unloaded, I'm getting weird vibes, and she just leaves. I text Beth and tell him what happened, and he called me and put his brother on a 3-way call, and his brother informs us that his mom had just come to the laundromat to inform Baal and Sil that she was admitting herself to the psych ward because she couldn't handle the disrespect he was giving her, and she insinuated she was a danger to herself, which is why she left the guns with me. The 3 of us are like F, but decide maybe it's for the best, maybe she will get some help she very obviously needs. Bill and Sil come home and they make dinner and the 3 of us sit down together and eat. Everything is going great and no sign of Mill. We are all sitting in the living room and we hear some very aggressive honking coming from outside. Baal checks and sure enough Mile is back. He goes outside to move his car so she can pull into the garage, and as soon as she comes inside she starts going into Sil, asking her about some expensive sheets and why did Sil try to get rid of them. Sil is very confused and tried to speak up for herself, but Mal isn't having it. Bile comes back in and tried explaining further to his mom when Mill says, everything you're wanting to get rid of goes through me first. This is shocking to me because she has never tried to verbally attack one of the girlfriends before. But obviously I'm pissed because who the F does she think she is? Eventually, Bile and Sil go back upstairs to continue going through things and packing things up, and I go up there to help because I didn't want to deal with Crazy Lady by myself. So we are all going through stuff and putting stuff in boxes, and Mill comes and just stands in the doorway and glares at all of us. We look back for a minute, but then just keep doing what we are doing. She finally goes into her room and starts crying very loudly. And she texts my phone asking me to tell Bile to go to her. So I inform him of the text I'd just gotten, and he goes. He comes back and we ask what is going on. And he said she was trying to guilt trip him by saying, you don't care about me or how I feel, etc. We all just roll our eyes and finish up packing. We get the trash and the three of us head outside to put it in the trash can. Behind us we hear the door open. Sure enough, it's Mill. Side note, Bile and Sil were moving out the following Thursday. Mill works from home. She asks Bile about what he's throwing away, and he explains in a way he thinks will suffice. It did not. Mill, you can't move out on Thursday. If I am this much of a mess right now, how am I supposed to get any work done when you're moving out? Bill, Mom, I'm sorry you're upset, but I have to move out on Thursday. Sil, starting to panic. Thursday is the day we rented the truck. It's the only day we have help. We have no other option, Mile. I don't care. I have to work. You're not moving out Thursday. Bill trying to reassure Sil. We will figure something out. Mill, if you leave Thursday, you might as well get the hell out of my house now. Belle, okay, come on, Sil named Mile. You don't care about me, you just want to leave me like everyone else. Bill, Mom, we're not going that far. We will come visit. I'm sorry you're upset, but we have to go. Mill gets in Bill's face. You're not leaving Thursday. Bill, yes I am. The fight continues inside while they are trying to go upstairs to get some stuff to leave. Sil is the only one who makes it up to get her stuff. Mill get in Bile's face again, but this time she had picked up a glass vase and was holding it over his head like she was going to hit him with it. At this point, Sil saw everything. Mill slams the glass vase down and picks up the house phone, throws it against the wall, and then punches a door. I go outside to console Sil because she is understandably upset. My boyfriend went on break and texted, so I called him and tried my best to explain what just happened and told him he needed to come home. He said, okay, I will tell my supervisor and I'll be on my way. We hung up and I go to help Sil with her stuff. We put her things in the car and I am trying to make her feel better as we walk back up the driveway and Mile comes storming outside and she starts going into Sil again. I have had enough. Mill keeps getting closer to Sil and I'm not going to let her hurt Sil, so I step in between them, facing neither one of them. Mile, don't step between us. Get out of my way. Me. No. You know what? Your behavior tonight is uncalled for and unacceptable. I'm not going to stand by while you bully this girl. You're acting like a child. Mill, you better watch yourself because you're next. Sil tries to tell me to stop and leave it alone, and I told her, no, dude, she doesn't get to talk to you like that. Mill walks back inside, so I call Beth because I have a feeling his mom and I are about to fight. He answers, and all I can ask is, how far are you? He said, 10 minutes. I tell him he needs to hurry when Mel comes back outside to fight with Sil. I keep Beth on the phone while they hash out their conversation. Mill, you can't leave Thursday. Sile, it's the only day we have to leave. Mill, I don't care, you can't take my son from me. Sil, he's a grown man and can decide that for himself. You know what, you can't talk to me the way my mom talks to me. I'm not your daughter. Mile, I will talk to you however I feel. I again asked Beth how much longer and he said 5 minutes. Mill goes into me next mile. You better not head called that boy. He needs to work. He better not be coming home. He needs that job. I asked Beth if he heard all of that and he said, yep, I just responded with please hurry. Not even 2 minutes later, he comes zooming into the driveway. His mom had called his grandparents, her enablers, and he gets in her face and starts going off. Side note, I had never seen my boyfriend this angry before. He is usually very calm, and at this point we'd been together for a year and a half. He gets her inside and tells me to get my stuff because we were leaving. His grandparents showed up and he made her apologize to me for showing her ass And she gave the worst apology, ever took no accountability. And she said she thought I was going to hit her when I stepped between them, which made no sense because I was facing away from both of them. Anyway, shit calmed down, and Bile got to move out Thursday in peace, and now he and Sil are happily living together in their own apartment. Boyfriend still lives there, though, but we are working on that. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more captivating stories. Share your own experiences, opinions in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay tuned for more epic tales.